I believe we're at a point in society where everyone has a vice. Everyone has a crutch. A vice is something that's not morally good, but it makes you feel good. So for example, drinking alcohol, smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, these are vices. So I've come to this conclusion because we're addicted to dopamine. Being addicted to dopamine is directly tied to consuming. Consumption off your phone, consuming, shopping, buying things, consuming through food. We are addicted to dopamine so much that we need a vice to not let ourselves feel so overwhelmed. So if we're coming home from work, drinking just a bottle of beer or, smoking a cigarette, that is our way of depleting this dopamine without having to do too much work. Because the natural way to deplete dopamine is through exercise. And that's hard to do, right? If you're too tired, if you're too overwhelmed, if you are so stressed out and anxious, you cannot work out. You are going to go to a vice. We're at a point. Even children have vices. And not all vices are drugs. No. Dopamine comes from consuming on your phone. We are overly consuming dopamine on our phone. Dopamine affects you. Dopamine affects your decision making, your impulsivity, your aggression. Think about how angry this world is. Think about how fast this world is. We are so addicted to dopamine that smoking a cigarette is normalized. It was normalized, but it's even more normalized. You know what's rare? Sobriety. To find someone that is completely sober, who doesn't need vices, who doesn't need something to stimulate their mind, that's rare. Sobriety. There's not many people out here that are actually sober, that are actually going through life, not needing stimulants, not needing depressants, not needing these drugs or things to get them by. That's rare. So I'm making this video to remind everyone that the more you consume dopamine, the more you feel overwhelmed, the more you will feel like you need a vice. Seriously. Dopamine comes from so many things. Candy, the foods you eat, certain foods. If you go to eat McDonald's, you're getting dopamine. Make your own hamburger. I want to make a separate video about dopamine, but to have a vice is crazy. Everyone I know has a vice. And the crazy thing is, whenever someone is drinking alcohol and then someone is smoking weed, there's a judgment there. There's a judgment between the two different vices, like you both don't have a vice. The real flex is to not have one. The real flex is to come home from work and not need to unwind with a cigarette, unwind with a blunt, unwind with a beer. That's the real flex. Is to drink water. Is to be able to go through life raw dogging life without anything in your system. That's so rare. Dude, that's rare. There's middle schoolers already finding their vices. This is sad. This is so sad. And this is not just in America. This is worldwide. This is a worldwide dopamine addiction problem. It stems mainly through the phones. It stems through doom scrolling and consuming so many different emotions in 1 minute. Like, that's where the dopamine addiction comes from. So, in order to decrease our dopamine naturally, we have to exercise. Exercise, change your diet, drink more water. That's really it. But this video is basically just a reminder that you're not the only one that has a vice. You're not the only one that has a crutch. You're not the only one that feels addicted to something. I swear. And it's not like you are addicted where you are this meth head or this crackhead. No. We're addicted to dopamine. We are all addicted to dopamine. So in return, we will be addicted to something. We will find a crutch to alleviate our bodies. Because if we are constantly feeling this dopamine, we will literally go crazy. Our bodies will shut down. We need something to help deplete this dopamine. So exercising is the best way, and I know it sucks to hear it, but it's the best way. It's the best way. So I thought I would put this into perspective. You are not the only one that has a vice. I'm not the only one that has a vice. Everyone has a vice. And the rarest form of person is a sober person. Someone in sobriety. So, yeah, I thought I would put that into perspective today. And if you ever feel overwhelmed, stressed out, anxious, just focus on your breath. Focus on your breath before you make any decisions, because a high level of dopamine will make you think you need that vice. Your decision making is being altered by your dopamine. So, yeah, that's it, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.